My guest today, a part of that generation born between 1960 and 1980. 25-year-old Frank McCune has an undergraduate degree from Arizona State University, a master's from Illinois State University. Frank is interning with Anderson Consulting. 33-year-old Tory Starbuck is a performance artist and a musician with a local band called Next Radio. 26-year-old Amy Nolman is a personal trainer at the Fitness Edge and an aerobics instructor at Providence Healthcare in Granite City. And 24-year-old Crystal Overstreet is a staff member of the Missouri Alliance for Choice, also a volunteer coordinator for Raven, a group that works to stop family violence. And I'd like to thank you all very much for joining me today. So what is a slacker? Everybody tosses that term around as though people from your generation are lazy. I assume that's what it means.
Right.
I mean, do any of you know? You're often called it.
I've never personally been called a slacker. I've heard the term slacker for people that are in the Generation X category. But whenever I think of slacker, it seems like almost like a panhandler. I mean, that's what I've always thought was, you know, that's a slacker, somebody that's not really interested in a career or working. And it has nothing to do with what career you're interested in.
Now, Tory, I understand as a performance artist and a musician that you would dress like this. But when you were in the newsroom yesterday, as we were preparing for this show, I can't tell you how many people came up to me and said, you know, why is he dressed like that? With that tone of voice. You know, why is he dressed like that?
I mean,
it's like an R2-D2 patch almost.
Yeah.
Okay, listening to music. I think I was always interested in it, but I don't think I ever thought that I could actually play an instrument. Even when I got my first real music instrument was an acoustic guitar. And when I got it, I didn't just all of a sudden start like picking out songs. I don't think at first, you know, I think I had to figure out, you know, it's like, oh, it has to be in tune. So, you know, you learn things like that. And then I remember learning chords with this is when I lived in Hazelwood still. And there was a neighborhood girl and I that would go through guitar chart chords and then figure them out and learn, you know, simple songs. But yeah, I still didn't. I was like, oh, wow, I can play this thing. It was just sort of like, you know, that I'd put it down and that was it. This is that didn't have any of the antennas, no knobs, no blinky lights. It was a box of chocolates. It had Italian chocolates in it. And it had the relief map was already there. And I think after Dr. Mabuse ate the last chocolate, he was like, boy, it'd be a shame to just throw this box away. So like any weird sort of person would do is fill it up. Can you see the inside?
Yeah.
Is fill it up with the electronics. Doc likes to solder, apparently. Mm-hmm. So he created the one and only Viaggio di Marconi, which is a theremin. It's many things, so I'm going to turn off all the other functions. So it's a theremin. And it's also got a radio in it.
Yeah.
That'll go on random. It'll just cruise through stations. Because while Venus is playing it in shows, we'll be in like the middle of like really serious show and you don't know what's going to pop up. And so she was doing this and like a Neil Diamond song came up in the middle of it. Like,
wow.
Longfellow Serenade. And it was just like, we just all looked. It was just kind of funny that it popped up.
You guys are fantastic, man.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I mean, we're going to come down with some really, people in South St. Louis and the St. Louis area are going to really start to hear about you guys.
They don't really notice us. I don't think.
Oh, they're going to notice you before I get through with it.
We're just like, we walk down the street, no one.
I guess not, man. Nobody would notice you.
They think that we're some, young child's toys that got left out in the rain, and then the rain caused us to develop genes, and we grew bigger.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How big are you going to grow?
I was a trans.
So here's Eno's room. Oh yeah, he's got his own library, and like some of the books are Venus and mine that we've given him from when we were little bit. And no, most of them are just like bought from him. And he like picks them up and reads them. It's like,
Cool.
First of all, I couldn't read English because we were taught in the 60s with a different method called ITA. So we had more than, I think we had 40 something different characters to learn. And you can look up on the internet. It was actually a really neat system, but we didn't have the A, E, I, O, U's and the consonants. We had like these weird symbols, and they thought that it would teach us to learn by phonetics, but it actually made me dyslexic. So and they said it was actually good for people that were dyslexic, but for people that weren't, it really messed them up, because I got put out in the hall the first day because the teacher said, this is how you spell blue. So that's what blue looks like. And I said, no, it doesn't. It's B-L-U-E. And she said, you, out in the hall. I was like, okay. There was the K sound. And that would be sky. Really still like going to clubs and playing my like art rock, new wave music. You know, music where they're singing and we're using rock instruments and. I perform well, I'm sure, and you probably noticed, I perform differently when I have a really big crowd and when I'm playing a smaller crowd. And when I did the David Bowie tribute show with Super Jam at the Del Mar, it's not because I was doing David Bowie songs, even though I love doing that because I can. But no, I would give that kind of performance if they were my songs, but I was on a stage that big for that kind of crowd.
Kurt Kearns, when he was a teenager, was in a group of the same members of Gravity Kills called The Trend, and they lived in Jefferson City. I lived in Warrenton, and he invited me to sing Blue Jean at his, I guess it was a high school dance, where I changed the words to Blue Jean. She was a communist bitch named Blue Jean, and his principal completely lost it. It was kind of nice to do it after all those years. That was in 1984.
What is America about?
America's about living free, doing whatever the hell you want.
Freedom to buy, hon.
That's America.
What was that?
The freedom to buy anything you want to buy. Like that's a Honda. A Honda.
Flip that thing back here.
I incline to agree. I decline to agree.
Would you have a statement to make?
I'm communist, so...
He's commie. A commie rebel commie.
No.
We don't need that, do we?
I agree with him. Talk about it. Who would you rather have go out with your sister? Come here.
One thing I agree with. He said America is like stand for freedom. It's supposed to, but it doesn't.
People like me make it that way. Americans make it any way they want. And if you want to bitch and moan, you can bitch and moan. If you want to be American and live free, live free. Dress the way you want.
Any comment?
Shit.
Not really.
If you did this in Moscow, they'd hang your ass.
What if I did it in England? I wouldn't get beat up.
I don't think you, I
I
mean...
get beat up all the time like this.
Well, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
I'm filling my car with gas and I'm getting attacked.
Yeah. And that would happen both in Warrenton and St. Louis.
Oh, Warrenton was horrible. No, Warrenton, I had people chasing me around with guns. And I would have to drive down a country road and hide in someone's driveway until they were gone. No, it was scary out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got threatened a lot out in Warrenton. But no, St. Louis. But then, yeah, like I said, there was a period in St. Louis where, and I think a lot of it was television too, because they'd have like these television shows and movies where the punk rockers were the thugs that were doing bad stuff, and so they're like, so they look at me and just assume, oh, you're like no, just like weird music, and I watched a lot of Star Trek, so I dressed like a science fiction character. I mean, because see, when I was born, I was supposed to be Tory, but my dad's family, the Peniston family, every first son was Robert, had to be a Robert. So my dad's family fought with my mom about that. He will not be Tory. He will be Robert Peniston, like his father. And so I became Robert Tory Peniston. So I always wanted to be Tory, but my dad would get mad at me if he caught me signing a paper with that or telling a girl that my name was Tory. You're living in a fantasy world. Like, well, it doesn't have to be fantasy. Now it is because it's in my head. But if I tell people, it'll become a reality. And it's not so. That was always my answer to, you're living in a fantasy world. It's like, well, maybe, but I'm trying to make it a reality. And it's easy to do if you just stop fucking with me.
Fact one. The space is the void. As fish can cry while wet. Fact two. I'm wrong. Embrace the faith. The cactus stands. Day one.